Alright, I'm back. Last night, I went to see the Dirty Honey and Mammoth WVH tour called the Young Guns Tour. They had a show here in San Diego, the House of Blues. And let me tell you, rock and roll is alive and well here in San Diego. So let's break down the show. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so this is going to be a short one. I don't think it's going to be particularly long, mainly because I'm in the middle of my break. I only had half an hour. And actually, I wasn't even planning on doing a podcast today. I was planning on taking the day off because I told you, busy week this week. My birthday's tomorrow. I got stuff to do. I got places to go, people to see, and stuff like that. But last night's show was so good. And I know that most of my audience is mostly, the majority of my audience are rock people. Now, how do I know that? It's because I used to work at a rock station called Rock 105.3. And most of the people followed me from there, so most of you guys are rock guys, so I just had to talk about this. It was actually funny because my buddy Ernie brought it up. I went to see the concert with a couple of my buddies, and he was like, dude, you ever think it's crazy that probably 90% of the people here know who you are? And it's because, you know, all these people are rock people, and because they're at a rock show. And so they probably listen to the station, and if they drive to work, they probably listen to the show. So you think that's crazy? And I was like, not until you mentioned it. Now it's a little weird, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. The point is, it got me thinking. This is, something I like talking. I love talking music, and this is, probably most of you guys are interested in because it's rock. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Mammoth WVH and Dirty Honey. So I went to the show. I had only ever heard one song from each band because a buddy of mine got us tickets. He basically was like, "Hey, we're going to this show," and I was like, "Cool, all right. I got nothing to do, and I like rock concerts, so fine. Let's go check it out." And I don't like listening to bands before I go see them perform live if I don't know who they are that much. Like I knew who Mammoth WVH was, and because I know Wolfgang Van Halen is. We actually had him on the radio show, so I got to talk to him on the phone a little bit, and so we interviewed him, and I knew who he was basically. I know his story. I know about him, and so I was like, all right, fine. We played one of their songs. I remember hearing one of their songs, and I was like, all right, fine. Right, I like that song. Whatever. I mainly care about going there with my buddies, and I don't like looking up their music because I like being surprised. I like showing up at a show and then being impressed with what I hear and then becoming a fan afterwards. So if I'm already a fan before, yes, I do. I already listened to all their stuff. But if I really don't know about them before and I'm going to see them live, it's like, okay, I want to go there clean slate. And holy fuck was I impressed. Massively impressed. I had a few expectations. I kind of had like a few things that I expected were going to happen. And holy shit. First off, most important thing probably, Mammoth WVH did not play a single Van Halen song. I did not. They do play a cover, but it's not a Van Halen cover. And by the way, the cover is fantastic. They did Alice in Chains, Them Bones. Holy fuck. I've actually seen Alice in Chains live. This one felt just as good, if not even better, because of the context of the situation. Anyway, so for those of you who've never been to the House of Blues, it feels kind of like an underground scene because you are technically underground, and it's very close. It's very intimate. The place was packed. Again, rock and roll is alive and well in San Diego, in America's finest city. There's still very much a very big audience for this particular type of music. And I'll be honest with you, I've been concerned about rock and roll for a while because you're like, who are the new big bands that are out there? Who's going to be carrying on the legacy of rock and roll? Because now it's more like poppy stuff, or the bands that I grew up with, they're part of the When We Were Young tour, which that concert sounded fantastic, but it's like, yeah, it's true. Like My Chemical Romance, Incubus, The Killers, they're all early 2000s. The Offspring, I think Offspring is 90s. Who do you want to go with? Also Guns N' Roses, definitely not the Pearl Jam, not this generation. So it's a Korn, and so it's like, man, who's going to be the Young Bucks? And there you go, asked and answered. This is the Young Guns tour, and I was massively impressed. Now these two bands have very very different styles, and I'm gonna break them down a little bit because I liked one more than the other. I very much liked Mammoth WVH more than Dirty Honey, just because it's more my style. But they were both very impressive in their own way. So to wrap the both of them up, and then I'll go into each one specifically. I saw two bands that I think are must watches if you're a rock fan, if you ever have the opportunity to watch them, because this is their first album. I think it's their second tour, for each band. Because I mean, Wolfgang has gone on tour, with Van Halen, but I think for Mammoth it's his second tour. Dirty Honey, I think it's similar. I think they started in 2017 or something. So they're just beginning. If they continue on this track, they are bound to have like a phenomenal future. Like, I'm very much looking forward to what else they can do. They're starting off strong. I was massively impressed. I was more impressed with some of the stuff that they did that I've seen with other bands that I've seen live, and like professional ones. So let's these are professionals too. So let's break it down, because I think I want to get into specifics a little bit here. Point is, highly recommend it. If the tour's gonna be hitting your city soon, I highly recommend it. These are two bands who are extremely good, worth watching, and honestly I think they're just getting started. They are the ceiling is very high for these two. If they keep going in the direction that they're going, they're going to become very big names in the years to come. I would not be impressed. In fact, I'm expecting it. I'm anticipating it. So let's go. Let's begin with Mammoth, because Mammoth actually ended up was the one who opened the show. Now we were confused as to who was going to be opening for who, but I guess it's like a co-headliner thing. So one night's one or one's the other. I don't know. But the point is, Mammoth opened up, and personally, I like Mammoth WVH better because their style of music is more my jam. And it's actually pretty interesting. I gotta tell you, it's as far as bands go, this is probably the best synchronized band I've ever seen in my entire life. The sound was so clean and so perfect. The technique and everything, and it was beyond amazing. I kept turning to my buddies and be like, this is insane. How in sync everybody is, how clean the sound is. It's perfect. In many ways, it was a perfect performance. Many ways. And so as musicians, they're clearly superior musicians by far. And their style of music is more my speed. And as I was listening to their songs, I was like, man, how old is Wolfgang? Like, how old is Wolf? Because their style of music is very similar to the style of rock that I listened to growing up. Like, there was a song that sounded kind of like Korn. Like, this sounds kind of like Twisted Transistor a little bit. And then there's another one, like, this kind of sounds like Marilyn Manson there. And there's ones that even sounded like a little bit like Placebo. And so I was like, man, this guy, he's our age. So it makes sense that he grew up listening to the rock that we listened to growing up. And so it would make sense that his style of rock that he plays would be kind of in that particular range. And so we looked it up. Turns out he's born in 91, so there you go. That's why Mammoth's style of music is more 90s, early 2000s rock, which I loved. Again, it's the rock that I listened to growing up. And again, they did a cover of Alice in Chains, which was fantastic, which is, again, is 90s rock. So I loved it. I was massively impressed. My favorite song is actually called Mammoth. It's the one that they opened with. Fantastic. Watch the lyric video. The lyrics they'll get you pumped. They'll inspire you. And so you're watching this performance, and it's got a lot of heart. Clearly they trained their asses off, and you can tell the experience that Wolf has on stage. It was a perfect, like, they don't look like newbies. They look like they've been doing that for a really long time. They've been performing together for a long time. It was perfect. And they even flex a little bit. There was a point where I was like, I can't believe that they just did that. And it was basically like a big flex of like, look at what we can do as artists. And I'll try to explain it. Basically, they were going a particular rhythm, like the entire band, like dan, 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 and they broke the rhythm and then got back into the rhythm immediately, all in sync. Now, I'm gonna try to simplify that for you in a way that might make some sense. So let's say the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, it's rock, so it's fast, like dan, dan, dan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all of a sudden they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 8, 7, 5, 3, 4. But it was I couldn't even do it just saying numbers. So it would, let's see, 1, 8, 7, 3, 4. I don't know. It was jarring. It sounded cool, but at the same time, like, that was just like a massive flex. I can't even do it just with numbers, and they did it, the entire band, in sync. It was phenomenal. And so, personally, I like Mammoth WVH better. I have a few recommendations for them, though. This is just free advice. They don't have to take it. I wish they would, but here's some free advice. Their logo, it's just like a triple M. One recommendation. Like, I love the minimalism. It's clear. It's easy to understand who this band is. Who we're talking about. You could have added some tusks at the end of the M. Just saying. Like, if you're gonna go with Mammoth, go for Mammoth. And so just adding some tusks here at the end would make it perfect. Would make it even better to identify. I might have even bought a T-shirt. Who knows? But yeah, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. It's just, again, free advice. Take it if you want it. It's all up to you. When you're about to walk out on stage, I highly recommend adding some sound effects of like stomps. You know, kind of like a Jurassic Park style, like boom, boom, boom. That would sound so cool, and the people will get so fucking hyped. And again, play up the Mammoth stuff, right? If you're a giant, you're a massive animal, and so play it up. Boom, boom, boom. The people will be like, oh my god, that's fucking great, that's awesome. So yeah, free advice. Add tusks to the logo. When you go out on stage, before you go out on stage, add that sound effect. People will be pumped. Highly recommended. Highly recommend. In fact, you know what? People might actually start stomping along. If you hear the boom, boom, people might be like, they start stomping as well. Who knows? I'd think it'd be cool, but whatever. Again, free advice. Take it if you wanna. And so that was the first band. Well, they actually had an opener band, but I don't remember their name. And honestly, they're not on the level, but they were good. They're pretty good. I don't remember their name. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Now, Dirty Honey. So Dirty Honey is, if Mammoth WVH is 90s, early 2000s rock, Dirty Honey is 70s, 80s rock. And in fact, their opener, I think it's California Dreamin', it's Aerosmith. Now, the thing that's very, very impressive about Mammoth WVH, they put on a hell of a show. And again, it's more in the vein of Aerosmith, like dancing more around, playing around more with the audience, playing with a microphone. It's a completely different style of show. So Mammoth WVH, I think personally, they have better songs. They're better musicians, more talented. They're more in sync. Dirty Honey's a little bit wilder. Again, it's more of a show. They have better showmanship. It's a different type of experience. It's a different style of music too. So they got the edge there. And their lead singer is phenomenal. And I mean phenomenal. This dude, like my buddy Ernie, I think hit the nail on the head when he described him. He said that the lead singer has a privileged voice. Like Ernie actually had to leave early. Because he gets up at work at like 3 a.m. And he was like, dude, I want to leave, but his voice keeps me here. It's really impressive to listen to and watch. I think that the only other person who might be on that particular level of voice talent wise that I've seen is Chris Cornell. Now, I think Chris Cornell has the edge because, again, Chris Cornell is more my style of music, which is 90s rock, early 2000s rock. But this dude, holy fuck, you can't believe that that's coming out of a person's mouth. It's quite an experience to watch. So, two very different style of bands. Again, one plays more 90s, early 2000s rock. The other one is more 70s, 80s style, completely different. One is more technically proficient. One has, I think, better songs, more musical talent. The other one is a better show, and they have a phenomenal, like, epically good lead singer. So, very different styles. They complement each other very well. And it just let me think, like, holy shit, like, rock and roll is alive and well. Like, the future of rock and roll is alive and good. It's they're gonna go somewhere. I don't usually talk about concerts that much, but this is a show that I highly recommend. Highly recommend. If you're a rock guy and you have a chance to see them, do it. It's worth your money. It's worth your time. And again, you walk out of there feeling, I watched something special. And I think that's the most important part. I just watch something special, and you leave there and like, man, I want to listen to their music. I put on Mammoth again, that particular song several times. It gets you pumped. It's a very inspirational song. It gets you hyped. It's like, all right, I'm ready to take on anything. Bring it on. So again, very, very talented musicians. The scene in San Diego. San Diego's already been, the America's finest city, but the rock scene, it's impressive out here, because I've been to other places and it's like, it's not as, let's say, I don't want to say hardcore because that's not the word, passionate. So it's not as passionate, but it's nice to see that it's here, it's alive and well, and that there's actually bands out there who play a style of music that I care about. So again, if you're into that style of music, highly recommend it. Go watch them live. It'll be a fun experience. And I think that's a good place to stop. Because actually, yeah, I think I might be a little over on time because I got to go back to work. But yeah, I'll just leave it there. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch. I don't know when I'm going to do the next live one. Maybe Friday, but I don't think so because I'm going to go watch the Batman. We'll see. I don't see. I play this by ear. We'll see how it goes. If you want to send me something privately, you can do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at DarioSDW. In fact, if you check it out right now at DarioSDW, I posted a couple stories there from the concert. I posted one song from Mammoth, one from Dirty Honey, if you care about checking them out. They'll be gone by today, what's today? Wednesday. Today at like 9, I think they'll disappear. So if you want to check it out before that, there you go. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.